everything that any organization does helps, and especially something or someone as big as the Raptors.
Two major Toronto sports teams hold open practices in London, Ontario, to share an important message about uniting people through sport. And
you have people walking in, you have to get ID and vaccine passport before they could enter the door.
Toronto has received hundreds of proof of vaccination complaints. We check in with some restaurant owners to find out how they're coping. Plus,
your home accessible, any home can do it. They basically just have to treat from the end of their driveway.
Plus, removing barriers for trick-or-treaters. We'll tell you how some are hoping to make this spooky season more accessible.
This is CBC Saturday News.
Hello, thanks for joining us. Months after a Muslim family in London, Ontario was killed in what police called a hate attack, this weekend a strong show of support from the world of sports. The Toronto Raptors and the Leafs are in London. Their message, it's time to stand together against hate and use the power of sport to bring people together. Lorenda Redekop is there.
Excitement, knowing they'll see their basketball heroes at an event aimed at supporting a community that's been through so much.
We're very proud to be here. Obviously, we're proud to be representing as Muslim Londoners ourselves. And we're just happy to be able to combine our love for Raptors and our love for our community and support everyone all around.
Some people here knew the family that was attacked almost 4 months ago. A grandmother, 2 parents, and their daughter died after a driver plowed into them on the sidewalk. Their son Fayez was the lone survivor. The driver faces charges of murder and terrorism.
I think as someone who personally knew the family that was attacked, I think it's really special to me personally. It means a lot that they're actually, actions speak louder than words, right?
The Raptors are here to wow the crowd, but they're also a team known for highlighting social justice issues. The team's owner, Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, is also donating $250,000 to develop a community recreation spot, possibly here. The site still isn't confirmed.
Just remind ourselves that in the spirit of sport, we can really do some really good changes in our community that are really necessary and bring us back together to really battle some of the hate that we've experienced in the last few months.
It's easy for people to post something and to write something, but to show up for a community or for a particular group in a particular way, that's what the Raptors want to stand for. We want to make some change. We know how large our platform is.
Those closest to the Salman Afzal family are touched by today's events, but they remember the words from politicians after the attack and want to see more action from them on fighting Islamophobia here and across Canada.
We're not holding our breath, to be honest with you, because we know that this is a long process. This event, we're really, really grateful to MLSE, the Raptors organization, Masai Ujiri, everybody who came together to put this together. As I said, they didn't have to do this. But the fact that they're doing this shows that they care, and that means a lot to us.
Among those here with reserved spots are the classmates of Fayez and his sister Yumna, who died. There's still one more event for this community. On Sunday, the Toronto Maple Leafs alumni will face off for a game. Lorenda Redekop, CBC News, London.
The Toronto Blue Jays are one step closer to securing a playoff spot, beating the Baltimore Orioles 10-1 today during one of 2 crucial games for the team this weekend. This was the scene outside Rogers Centre earlier. A crowd of nearly 29,000 fans on hand to cheer on their team, and clearly that worked. Now the team needs to win tomorrow to keep their playoff hopes alive. And in other news tonight, in just 2 weeks since Ontario's proof of vaccination rules took effect, there's been more than 200 complaints. Dale Manukduk spent the day talking to restaurant owners as he reports even those who are doing everything right, they're still taking a hit.
For some, proof of vaccination means freedom.
I actually ate indoors for the first time in almost 2 years because I knew everyone around me was fully vaccinated.
For the unvaccinated, it can feel like the opposite.
Not only ostracized, you feel isolated because there are lots of things that you cannot do.
Like eat indoors at Midtown Restaurant Union Social Eatery. They've had to turn away at least 20 patrons. They've also received a few phone calls from people telling them they should be ashamed for enforcing the rules.
Fair or not, it's a responsibility. We just got to comply and follow through in doing what we need to do to get back to somewhat normal.
In addition to turning away diners, proof of vaccination has added to the cost of doing business with more people on staff.
Because it does take a while. You know, you have people walking in, you have to get ID and vaccine passport before they could enter the door.
Since the requirement began, business has slowed down at Tara Inn, an Irish pub in Scarborough.
For some reason, since the 22nd, it slowed right down. So that just doesn't mean that we're turning people away. They just might not be coming.
According to Melanie McIntosh, proof of vaccination is also causing behavioral problems for those who are vaccinated.
We have to constantly remind them when you go inside to the washroom or if you're leaving your table, put it back up, because everybody's a little bit more relaxed. They think that passport gives them the passport to do what they want.
Requiring proof of vaccination was not only meant to keep people safe, but also to encourage unvaccinated people to get the jab. Since the rollout, at least 20,000 Torontonians have initiated vaccination. Menlenkoski Mulwa is still not convinced.
I'm not an anti-vaxxer. Why? They are vaccines that have saved people's lives.
He says he has bad physical reactions to injections and cannot afford to not be able to work. Dale Manukduk, CBC News, Toronto.
Ontario is reporting 704 new COVID cases today. More than 500 of those were in people who are either not fully vaccinated or whose status is unclear. This weekend, Toronto is running Vax 25, meaning there's at least one vaccination clinic in each of the city's 25 wards. Mayor Tory was at one, talking about the ongoing push to get people vaccinated.
Today, we are continuing with a relentless campaign because we've got to push ourselves up to 90% of Torontonians that are fully vaccinated. That the people that are ending up in hospital today, and they still are, unfortunately, with the Delta variant, are people who have not been vaccinated in the main. And so that is why us getting to 90% is so important. And really, in the end, not only is it important to keeping you healthy, but it's important to keeping the city open.
The clinics are a mix of walk-ins and appointments. You can find a full list at toronto.ca. As of October 1st, 80.4% of eligible Torontonians have gotten the shot. A Canadian man is facing terrorism charges in the U.S. in connection with the ISIS uprising. It is the latest chapter in a long journey for Mohammed Khalifa. The CBC's Hilary Johnstone reports.
U.S. authorities say not only did Mohammed Khalifa fight for ISIS on the battlefield in Syria, but that he was also the voice of that violence. The 38-year-old Saudi-born Canadian citizen from Toronto has been charged in a U.S. federal court in Virginia with conspiring to provide material support to a foreign terrorist organization. It's alleged Khalifa was a leading ISIS media figure and held prominent roles starting soon after he went to Syria in 2013. He gained international notoriety as the English voice of ISIS with his distinct North American accent. And U.S. authorities say he was a lead translator and narrator in the group's propaganda videos, which glorified violence, showed brutal executions of unarmed prisoners, and were used as recruitment tools. He was captured in 2019 by Syrian Democratic Forces, and later that year, he was interviewed by the CBC's The Fifth Estate while in prison. He admitted to being the voice of ISIS in those videos, and he was also asked how that role came about.
I had a normal life back in Canada. I was doing very well for myself, and I decided to give it up, knowing where I was coming, knowing what I was sacrificing in the process. I was happy just coming to a place where we could live in an Islamic state and implement the Sharia.
But his role also caught the attention of Canadian authorities. And in June, unsealed court documents revealed that the RCMP intended to charge him with a number of terrorism offenses. Now today, U.S. authorities say that he was recently handed over into FBI custody. He is now in Virginia, where he is facing that charge. And if he is convicted, the maximum penalty that he could be facing is life in prison. Hilary Johnstone, CBC News, Ottawa.
One man is under arrest after a stabbing that left another man in serious condition. Police say it happened on a TTC bus just after 2 o'clock. The victim suffering multiple stab wounds. Exactly what happened leading up to the incident is under investigation. A big part of the TTC's Line 1 is closed today and tomorrow for signal upgrades. The Young Line between Shepherd and Bloor is shut down. Shuttle buses are running instead. And a major pothole blitz happening across the city. Starting before sunrise today, 80 city staff, making up 29 crews, were out on major roads and neighborhood streets. They wrapped up around 6 o'clock this evening. Since the start of the year, crews have filled 95,000 potholes. And Sophia Kambalia is here now. 29 degrees, right? My gosh, it was hard coming into work today.
Yeah, it was another taste of summer after everybody's favorite fifth season in Canada, pothole season. We got a little taste of summer. I know a few people that actually dipped more than just a toe into the warm lake waters today as well. We hit 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, while the Dome was open at Rogers Centre, currently 23. Still a little bit breezy. The breeziness will continue into the overnight period, and that's when things begin to fall off the edge. So hope you enjoyed the first half of the weekend, because the second half of the weekend will be that of deteriorating conditions, dropping temperatures, and some sogginess for Sunday. Cloud deck's already starting to move in. It's a sign of things to come. We bottom out at what will be 16, feeling like 15 into the overnight period, and then a series of low pressure systems will be the name of the game for you Saturday overnight into pre-dawn Sunday, when it really moves in for those of you here around the GTA and into southwestern Ontario. Bit of a lull, and then Sunday overnight, kind of the next heavier round comes in throughout the day. Monday, you will continue to see showers. Rain will be heavy at times for those of you in southwestern Ontario, which is where you could even see some embedded rumbles of thunder. It won't be excessive rain, a little bit more for those of you around the Golden Horseshoe and into the southwest. As I mentioned, a little bit less up to the north and the east, but enough rain to put a damper on any outdoor plans after tonight anyways, and definitely to need the umbrella right up until Tuesday when things dry out. Shannon?
Okay, we'll check in with you in a little bit. Manitoba is stepping up restrictions as COVID cases there continue to climb. It is just the latest province in the prairies facing increasing pressure. Here's more from Marina von Stackelberg.
A very significant lockdown on the unvaccinated.
Manitoba's top doctor, Brent Rusin, says the fourth wave has been driven by people who aren't immunized against COVID-19. So starting Tuesday, they'll face new restrictions. Gathering sizes will be limited if just one person in the group has chosen not to get their vaccine. The province will also target the region with the lowest immunization rates. In those communities, retail capacity will be reduced. Premier Kelvin Gertsen says he does not want Manitoba to end up like its neighbors to the west.
It is gut-wrenching because none of us want that. But I also have conversations with Jason Kenney in Alberta, and I've had conversations with Scott Moe in Saskatchewan. And I also know we can't get to that place again.
What's happening in those provinces is record-setting infections, ICU numbers, and deaths. Earlier this week, the Canadian Medical Association called for a circuit breaker lockdown in Alberta and Saskatchewan.
They really need to acknowledge that the healthcare systems are collapsing, and they need to embrace every public health measure available to them to get these numbers down so that we don't end up in a state of triage where people are actually going to be denied the opportunity for life-saving care.
The two provinces have the lowest vaccine rate in the country. Less than 2/3 of the eligible population is double dosed. Alberta brought in its first vaccine mandate for public servants only a few days ago. Saskatchewan has only just brought in a vaccine passport.
We've basically been wide open since the beginning of July, just like Alberta has, and it's really, really difficult to bring everyone, all of society, back from that to where we were.
Manitoba has had vaccine passports since June. Dr. Wong says that's one of the reasons why it's fared better than the other prairie provinces. Since Saskatchewan announced its plans to bring in a vaccine passport just a few days ago, there's been an uptick in people going to get their shots. Marina von Stackelberg, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Turning to international news now, thousands of protesters rallying across the U.S. today, fighting to protect abortion rights.
From Texas to my home state of Mississippi, state legislatures are passing the most extreme anti-abortion laws we've seen in generations.
You're looking at Freedom Plaza in Washington. These marches in reaction to the recent ban in Texas on most abortions. The Supreme Court denied a request to block the Texas bill. Pro-choice activists are worried that could empower other states to follow suit. The president of the Philippines says he will retire from politics when his current term ends next year. The Constitution prohibits Rodrigo Duterte from running for a second term, but he was making a bid for vice president. Now he says that would be inappropriate as well. Critics say his war on drugs has seen thousands die at the hands of police. There is speculation his daughter will enter next year's presidential race. For 2 weeks now, a volcano on a Spanish island has continued to erupt. Officials describe the current activity as intense, and last night, lava began flowing from a new opening. 2 villages went into lockdown in response to worsening air quality. Weather conditions were trapping gases at ground level. 6,000 people have now been forced to flee, and 800 buildings have been destroyed. Halloween may be a few weeks away, but some kids got a chance to do some early trick-or-treating today. It's all part of an effort by Holland Bloorview Kids Rehabilitation Hospital. Their goal is to make it fun and accessible to kids of all abilities. Dahlia Ashry was there.
Trick-or-treat. It's spooky season, from ghosts to ghouls to dressing up as your favorite superhero or young wizard.
You can call me Harry Potter.
9-year-old Gabriel Nikolakakis has cerebral palsy. Because of the pandemic, last year he spent Halloween indoors with his family.
I am here to do the trick-or-treating.
His mom says going door to door is usually a challenge for her son.
Gabe is always on the sideline waiting for the treats to come to him.
Something this mother and daughter can relate to as well.
I can't walk far enough to take her up and down stairs. Even a similar event in a village is usually too large and noisy and things like that. Like she gets overwhelmed.
But this afternoon in this neighborhood in the northwest end of the city, a more independent Gabriel.
See you at the next house, guys.
Gabe joins the more than 400,000 children with disabilities in Canada today, dressed in their finest Halloween costumes, participating in a more inclusive curbside trick-or-treat event. Halloween goers are invited to approach tables for their treats.
Remove stairs from the scenario, as well as moving things like strobe lights and other things like pets.
The event is hosted by founder Rich Padullo and the Holland Bloorview Kids Rehabilitation Hospital Foundation.
And then we've moved to the forward momentum.
And signs like these indicating it's an accessible, friendly home. And with more people vaccinated, Padullo says this accessible Halloween experience is a chance to get back out.
It's a supportive reset for Halloween, and people go to the end of their driveways and start to socialize a little bit more as opposed to being behind their door.
As for Gabe,
how exciting is this for you?
It's really exciting.
I guess it's safe to say today was quite the magical treat. Dahlia Ashry, CBC News, Toronto.
Superheroes are tackling super heights today by rappelling 17 stories down a Toronto building. They're raising money for Easter Seals, an organization dedicated to helping children with disabilities.
This year I raised $35,000. I'd like to thank everyone who donated. We're going to give a lot of kids the equipment and support they need to reach their full potential.
Andrew Nielsen there raised the most funds out of anyone. The proceeds go towards things like walkers, wheelchairs, lifts, and ramps. About 65 people took part today, and one mom received a walker and a wheelchair lift for her son.
It's my second time. Terrifying. This time I knew, don't look down, just do it.
She says although scary, it is for a good cause. The goal is to raise $80,000. Sophia, have you done that?
My adrenaline was pumping just watching it, so
I
haven't.
Okay, I feel like that is so up your alley. I feel like you would do that and you'd do so well at it.
Well, I appreciate the vote of confidence. Yeah, conquer your fears and change some lives while you're at it. What an amazing cause. Good
I know,
for all
I love
of them.
it. And perfect weather for them, eh?
Yeah, certainly inspired me. And the summer-like weather certainly helped as well. It was a gorgeous, gorgeous day, like close to 30 for many of you across the GTA. And I hope you really, really took it in, because boy, do things fall off that edge I mentioned. throughout the rest of the weekend. It's a really soggy Sunday. Umbrella, rain boots, rain jacket. Make sure it all fits from last season because you'll certainly need it over the next 12 to 24 hours. When do we finally clear out is the question. Tuesday, the clouds will be in place, but at least it will be a little drier. There will be a lot of mud for the dog paws if you're out walking over the next couple days, though it's a series of low pressure systems and a boundary actually sets up with high pressure to the north. So those of you in the southern Great Lakes Basin will be the recipient of all this rain over the next couple days in a few rounds throughout the day Sunday, beginning pre-dawn, Saturday night into Sunday morning, and then the second round Sunday into Monday. Showers all day Monday. Now, it's not excessive rain, as we mentioned, for many to the south. For those of you into the northeast and to the east, you could see up to 20 to 40 millimeters of rain and a little bit more as well for those of you near the Lake Erie shorelines, 15 to 30 millimeters. About 5 to 15 is the name of the game for those of you around the GTA. So not enough to really shake a stick at, but enough to dampen any of those outdoor plans. Then the silver lining is, though, a southerly flow. We will have above seasonal temperatures for the next coming days, which will be quite nice. We will dry out for a period midweek after the rain, Sunday and Monday. And then we have a complicated forecast as we head into Thanksgiving Day long weekend. We could have the potential for more rain to complicate any outdoor plans as we lead into that weekend. But enjoy the drying out for you midweek. Shannon?
Good to know. Yeah, a bit of everything there. Thanks so much, Sophia.
All seasons in one.
That is our show for tonight. Thanks so much for watching.